Sivaye Nama Thiruchitrambaram. Welcome back to our discussion on the 9th Thirumurai. With Lord Shiva's grace, we have already concluded 23 Thirupadigams and today we are going to start with the 24th Thirupadigam. This 24th Thirupadigam is written by Thiruvaali Amudhanaar and it is written to the place called as Chidambaram. We call it as Allai. And it is written in a pun called as Indalam. Let's look at the first verse, Thiruchitrambaram. Allai, Pagalaai, Uruvaai, Amudhanaar, Kallal Nizhalai, Kailai Malayai, Kaana Arulendru, Pallayiram per Padanjaligal, Parava Velipattu, Selvai Madilin Thillai Karuli, Devanadumi. Thiruchitrambalam. Today's verse is a beautiful verse and it tells us one truth, that we can't really define Lord Shiva or confine Lord Shiva within a boundary. If someone is asking, who is he? How does he look? You have to tell him this particular verse, which is Lord Shiva is the dawn and the dusk. He is the darkness and he is the bright light. He is the one who has a form and he is the one formless. He is also the one who is going to give the sweetness to the soul, and he is the one sitting under a beautiful banyan tree giving upadeshams as a guru. He is the one he's giving upadesham to as a guru to the disciples, which is basically the souls. He is the one who resides in the Mount Kailash as well. Now these are the boundaries that we are able to see. So he is the darkness, he is the light, bright light. He is the one with form and he is the one without form also. Now I need to see him. Now how to see him? And this is the prayer that is coming in following it. There are certain souls who have gone on all the way to Allai and praying to him and doing pujas on a regular basis only for them to see Lord Shiva's cosmic dance, for which Lord Shiva heeded and he was able to perform the dance for them. One such soul is Patanjali. So that is also represented in this particular verse to say, Patanjali witnessed your dance. Now I need to also see your dance. Now when we say seeing the dance, it is not just the statue that we are seeing over there. Rather, the cosmic dance is performed within every soul. He is dancing within us. All we have to do is relate with that. The moment we are able to relate with that, we can realize his dance that is being performed. We call it as the Olakka Mandapam, which is what Ambalam is all about. He is performing a dance and we will be able to see that. And when can we witness it? Only when we elevate ourselves into that plane. And how are we going to elevate ourselves? Only with Lord Shiva's grace. That is what verse number 1, the first verse is all about. And the second verse, the verse goes this way, Thiruchitrambalam. Anna nadayar amudha mozhiyar avargal payil thillai தென்னன் தமிழும் இசையும் கலந்த சிற்றம்பலம் தன்னுள் பொன்னும் மணியும் நிறந்த தலத்து புலித்தோல் பியர் கேட்டு மின்னின் இடையாள் உமையாள் காண விகேத நாடுமே. திருச்சிற்றம்பலம். Today's verse is very much linking to the Saiva Siddhantam book, which we have already discussed in detail, called as Unmai Vilakkam. In Unmai Vilakkam, there is one particular verse where Manavasakam Kadandar will say, Lord Shiva is performing his cosmic dance, and this dance is not witnessed directly by the souls, rather it is witnessed by his consort, Uma Deviyar. Now there is a question here, why would she watch it on behalf of us? And for this there is another verse that we have to look up for to get clarity, which is written in Chidambaram Mumani. In that particular verse, they would say, those days back then, I'm not talking about the new era, because now if you look at it, even the born babies are given with antibiotics and all these, and that is the reason we are seeing so much of ailments in babies as of today. But back then that was not the story. What would happen when a kid is falling sick is, they will give the medicine to the mom. the mom will first consume the medicine, and then that will be given to the kid in the form of breast milk. When she is feeding the baby, the milk will be digested, and in the form of milk it will be fed to the baby. So the baby can take on that particular intensity of the medicine. This was the practice that we had been doing for many years, many ages, I would say. But recent medicine has spoiled everything, and they are making us a permanent patient anyways. That's a different story. So if you look at this, here the last two lines talks about the same thing. Lord Shiva is performing the cosmic dance. Uma Deviar is watching that, and then she is feeding it to us, because as a soul we don't have the capacity to digest the dance. Dance is medicine. Lord Shiva's dance is a medicine for to get rid of this vicious cycle of birth and death. So in order to digest that, it is being fed through Uma Maheshwari Amma. Now the first two lines of this particular verse talks about the place Chidambaram, and what kind of a place is this, as in it is filled with young girls who are singing and dancing, and especially in the language, Tamil language. The Tamil language included with beautiful music. People are able to dance and they are able to go with the rhythm. That is what verse number 2 is all about. And he says, Lord Shiva is the one who made sure Tamil is, we all know in Madurai they had this kind of an approach called as Sangam. They kept a Sangam, and Lord Shiva was the head of it, and he was the first to grow the Tamil language. And following that, there were many leaders for that, but the first leader was, or the head of department, yeah. So Tamil, head of department for Tamil in Madurai Sangam was Lord Shiva. So he made sure Tamil is growing, and in this particular verse they say the Tamil that was grown in Madurai is mixed with beautiful musical notes, and that is being performed in the place called as Thillai. That is why even today when someone is learning Bharatanatyam, or they are learning vocal music and all these, or any kind of instrument, they would prefer to go down to Chidambaram to do their first performance, because it is considered to be such an auspicious place for any kind of an artistic work. So that is what verse number 2 is all about. Sivaya Nama, Thiruchitrambalam. Welcome back to our discussion on the 9th Thirumurai, 24th Thirupathikam, and the 3rd verse. The verse goes this way, Thiruchitrambalam. இளமென் முலையார் எழில் மைந்தரோடும் ஏறாரமளி மேல் திளையும் மாடத் திருவாத்தில்லை சிற்றம்பலம் தன்னுள் வளர் பொன்மலையுள் வைர மலை போல் வலக்கை கவித்து நின்று அளவில் பெருமை அமரர் போற்ற அழக நாடுமே. திருச்சிற்றம்பலம். Today's verse is of course showing us the cosmic dancer. Cosmic dancer is dancing in the place which is like a mountain made of gold, and within that, if we can imagine a gold diamond dancing in between, that is how this entire place is. We all know when there is a gold and you want to polish it, if you want to make it more beautiful ornaments out of it, we have to first go do certain processes, which is not going to be so easy on the gold. Rather, it has to be burnt. Similar to that, when we talk about polishing diamond, that's also going through a torturous process. In next time, when we are going through some kind of a turmoil in our life, one thing we have to remember is Lord Shiva is polishing us. That is why we are going through that pain. So in this particular place, which is called as Thillai, there are Devas and Sivan Muttar. All of them are coming and praying to Lord Shiva. They are singing praises about Lord Shiva, and here he is performing his cosmic dance with his arms bent in such a way that he says, it's called as Abhayakaram, which means that don't worry, I'm there to safeguard you. Don't worry, whatever it is, I'm there to protect you. So he is dancing with an Abhayakaram. That is what the last two lines are all about. Now the first two lines talks about the beautiful place. We have already seen in many of the verses that Lord Shiva is residing in the place called as Thillai, and this Thillai has a lot of natural resources and wealth and all these. Today they are adding on to the wealth to say there is happiness everywhere. There are beautiful buildings over there, tall high-rise buildings are there, and within that family lives are so peaceful, so happy, and it's filled with happiness and bliss that everyone are having a good time, and that is the place which is called as Thillai. This is what verse number 3 is all about to say. The place is filled with beauty, filled with bliss, filled with happiness, filled with money as in wealth, filled with even the natural resources and all these. In that place called as Thillai, Lord Shiva is performing his cosmic dance, and he is actually showing an Abhayakaram to us. That is what verse number 3 is all about. And the fourth verse, the verse goes this way. Thiruchitrambalam. சந்தும் மகிழும் தழைப்பீலிகளும் சாதி பலவும் கொண்டு உந்தி இழியும் நிவவின் கரைமேல் உயர்ந்த மதில் தில்லை சிந்திப்பரிய தெய்வ பதியுள் சிற்றம்பலம் தன்னுள் நந்தி முழவம் கொட்ட நட்டம் நாத நாடுமே. திருச்சிற்றம்பலம். Today's verse has a very important connotation to one of the most auspicious celebrations we do, which is called as Pradosham. During this particular time, Pradosham, what happens is, it's believed that Lord Shiva performs his cosmic dance in between the horns of Nandi, and Nandi is the one who's actually playing the drums for Lord Shiva to perform the dance. This is the tradition that we have been following through, but in Thirumurai we don't have much of a reference to it. All these have come from Vedas anyways, but we still follow the worship called as Pradosham, and only in certain places that this has been represented, and not to like a direct one. Only thing is we are trying to interpret it in that manner, but there are no direct references. That's something we have to say. Even here what they have said is Nandi is playing music and Lord Shiva is dancing there. That's all. We don't know whether this is what Pradosham is all about and this is the origin of Pradosham, but we can imagine that. So here they say Lord Shiva, who is our boss. That's a beautiful word. He is the head. He is our leader. He is the one who's guiding us in the path of spirituality. He is performing the dance, and Nandi is the one who's playing the drums there. This particular place called as Thillai is in the banks of a river called as Niva. This river is so ferocious, and it has got so much of a water, as in the forceful water that it's gushing out. It has no discrimination. It is just pushing everything on its way, including sandalwood tree, agil tree, everything. Big trees, unimaginable trees are all being swept away by this river. So we can imagine how ferocious this water is going to be gushing through. Now in that bank, this particular river's bank is where Thillai temple is being built, and in this Lord Shiva is performing his cosmic dance, and that too this particular place is beyond imagination. The place cannot even be imagined. The reason is we are not talking about the physical place called as Thillai, rather the place where Lord Shiva is performing his dance, which is nothing but our Olaka Mandapam. All we are talking about is only theoretical. We don't know, we don't have the experience. The moment we have the experience, we wouldn't be talking, we will be lost in words. So that is the experience. That particular experience is what we need to have, and all we can do is just pray God that He has to give us that experience. That is what verse number 4 is all about. And the fifth verse, the verse goes this way. Thiruchitrambalam. ஓம புகையும் அகிலின் புகையும் உயர்ந்து முகில் தோய தீமை தொழிலார் மறையோர் மல்கு சிற்றம்பலம் தன்னுள் வாம தெழிலார் எடுத்த பாதம் மழலை சிலம்பார்க்க தீமை சடைமேல் திங்கள் சூடி தேவநாடுமே. திருச்சிற்றம்பலம். Today's verse talks about the cosmic dancer's position. We all know Lord Shiva has lifted beautifully his left leg and he is swaying, he is dancing. And the leg that has been lifted up, that is having a beautiful anklets, and that anklets are making the sound that's coming from the anklets are so sweet and sober that it just attracts everyone in that place. And here our guru, our head, our leader is performing the cosmic dance in the place called as Thillai. In Thillai, he is dancing with his left leg lifted up. We can all see that position as of today. Now, we all know the reason behind the left leg being lifted up, because it's to show us, now this is the place you have to come and stay permanently. So please come and catch hold of this now immediately. Not only that, they always say the grace is represented as his left leg. So left leg is the place we all know, consort is there on his left side, which is our Ardhanarishwara position, right? So on the left is where Amma is all about, and when she is lifting her leg, as in her leg is the one that is coming to us, that is what grace is all about, and we have to hold on to that in order to get liberation from this life. Now, talking about this place called as Thillai, here priests are performing their pujas, yajnas on a regular basis. The heavens are happening on a regular basis. So we are able to see and feel the entire air is having that smoke, which is good for health. Right now we are getting all possible corrupted products, and when we are burning that, it is causing a lot more lung issue. But back then it was all pure, and when we are getting those pure ones and when we are performing yajnas, no diseases, as in now we are able to see corona, H1N1 and so many viruses are coming, and if the yajnas are performed properly, we will be able to see that these viruses will never come. Back then we did not have those, right? But the pujas have to be done properly. That is this particular place. In the first two lines, that is what is depicted. The place is it's such a happening place that pujas are being performed on a regular basis, so the entire place is filled with the holy smoke, and that is what we call it as Thillai Chidambaram. And here the cosmic dancer is performing his beautiful dance. And the sixth verse, the verse goes this way: Thiruchitrambalam. குரவம் கோங்கம் குளிர் புன்னை கைதை குவிந்த கரைகள் மேல் திரை வந்துலவும் தில்லை மல்கு சிற்றம்பலம் தன்னுள் வரை போல் மலிந்த மணி மண்டபத்து மறையோர் மகிழ்ந்தேத்த அரவம் ஆட அனல் கையேந்தி அழக நாடுமே. திருச்சிற்றம்பலம். Today's verse talks about the beautiful cosmic dance performed by Lord Nataraja in that place called as Thillai. He is dancing beautifully, magnificently. Now, when we say there is a beautiful dance performance that is happening, obviously we would expect quite a lavish way of dressing and ornaments, isn't it? But here Lord Shiva is dancing with holding on to fire on his hands. Not only that, his body has a lot of snakes. What does this represent is when something is not needed by humans, those are all going to be taken by Lord Shiva, which is also going to give us a lot of hope, as in if someone denies us, when we go through the feeling of rejection, don't worry, we can be confident that when the entire world is rejecting us, Lord Shiva will be there to embrace us. So all we have to do is just surrender ourselves completely to Lord Shiva, because he is the only person who can give guidance to us, who can own us, and who can give us the feeling that we are not alone in this planet. Now, Lord Shiva is performing the cosmic dance and this place called as Thillai, and in this Thillai is filled with natural resources, as in a lot of trees and shrubs, and quite a lot of plants are there. Something like Kuravam, Kongam, these are the different tree names. All these trees are beautifully spread across this entire place, and there is also a seashore. Because of that, the sound of the waves is so beautiful and soothing for any soul who's in that particular place. Thillai is also filled with priests who are performing yajnas on a regular basis, because we all know when we call someone as a priest, the first eligibility is they should be praying to Lord Shiva for the benefit of this world. Without any expectation, when someone is ready to pray for the well-being of the entire planet, entire lives in this planet, that person is called as a priest. So there are priests worshipping selflessly. They are not expecting anything in return, but they are praying to Lord Shiva for the well-being of the entire planet. That such a wealthy, such a natural resource filled and such a good soul filled place is Thillai. That is what verse number 6 is all about. And the 7th verse, the verse goes this way: Thiruchitrambalam. சித்த தேவரியக்கர் முனிவர் தேனார் பொழில் தில்லை அத்தார் அருளாய் அணியம்பலவா என்றென்றவரேத்த முத்தும் மணியும் நிறந்த தலத்துள் முளை வெண்மதி சூடி கொத்தார் சடைகள் தாழ நட்டம் குழக நாடுமே. திருச்சிற்றம்பலம். Today's verse talks about the beautiful place called as Thillai, which has beautiful buildings there. The buildings are all tall, high-rise buildings, and the entire walls, as in outside walls, not the internal one, but the exterior walls are fitted with all precious gems and stones. Can we imagine this? Some places we do see those, but within the houses, not outside. But Lord Shiva is residing in this place which is filled with riches. So the entire place, even the exterior walls, are having gold and diamond and all sort of precious gems fitted onto it. In that, Lord Shiva is performing the cosmic dance. He is dancing with a beautiful crescent on his hair, and at the same time his hair is left loose so that it's just flowing or swaying around while he's performing his dance, which is also an indication that his dance is not a very angry one or a ferocious one, because when he is in anger and when he's dancing in anger, obviously his hair will be rotating or revolving. Rather, here he's just dancing in a more cool manner. That is why his hair is basically let loose. In this place, Thillai, there are people who are coming and praising and singing his praises, such as Siddhar. We all know who are Siddhas. Devar, which is all the Devas. Yakkar, all the Rishis. Most of the Devas, they all come here to sing praises about Lord Shiva, and they request for Lord Shiva to guide them and to give them grace. So they are coming here, they are singing praises, and they are just requesting his grace. But we all know Lord Shiva is only going to show his grace to real devotees. He only cares about devotees. He doesn't bother about anyone else. That is what Lord Shiva is all about. He doesn't look at education, he doesn't look at riches, he doesn't look at knowledge, nothing. All he wants to know is what level of love we have for him. And when we are able to show real love, that is where he will bestow us with the best of the best of the best in this particular life, which is basically to show his lotus feet and completely take us into his world. That is what verse number 7 is all about. And the 8th verse, the verse goes this way: Thiruchitrambalam. அதிர்த்த அரக்கன் நெறிய விரலால் அடர்த்தாய் அருளென்று துதித்து மறையோர் வணங்கும் தில்லை சிற்றம்பலம் தன்னுள் உதித்த போழ்தில் இரவி கதிர் போல் ஒளிர் மாமணி எங்கும் பதித்த தலத்து பவளமேனி பரமநாடுமே. திருச்சிற்றம்பலம். Today's verse reminds us of the first 3 Thirumurai, which was written and given to us by Thiruñana Sambandar. If you look at the pattern, usually the 8th verse will be dedicated for Ravana Anugraha Murthy. one of the 64 Murtams in, when we talk about Lord Shiva's Murtam, 64, in that one of it is Ravana Anugraha Murti, and 8th verse will always represent that, or most of the time, I would say even 99%, Kari Pillayar will be only talking about Ravanan. In this also, as in 24th Tirupadikam, it follows the same pattern. That is something interesting. So the 8th verse talks about Ravanan, which means Lord Shiva is there in Kailash. When Ravanan wanted to cross that, there was something which was stopping his chariot from flying away. That is when he got angry and he wanted to remove the mountain from there. When he was so ferocious and he came down and he tried to lift Mount Kailash, what Lord Shiva did was, just with his fingers, his foot, he just pressed with a little finger and the entire mountain went down, and there goes Ravana under the mountain. He started shouting, and that is why he got the name Ravana. Ravana it has a meaning as in to say someone is crying out loud. And he punished Ravana, right? At the same time, he's showing his grace to all the priests and whoever is praising him, talking about him, and always thinking about Lord Shiva, as in someone who is doing Mukkarana, as in the way how we look at it is our body, mind, as well as our words. All three must be synchronized with Lord Shiva's work. That is what we call it as Mukkarana, and with all the three we need to start praying Lord Shiva, and he will show us the grace. So this is what we call it as Arakkarunai and Marakkarunai. One is punishment, another one we call it as a cane and a carrot, right? That's the same thing. So either a carrot or a cane. So Ravana got the cane. Anyone who praises him, as in with the help of the three Karanas, they will be given the carrot, right? Now Lord Shiva is performing his cosmic dance in the place called as Thillai, and this place, which is Thillai, it looks as if the entire place is filled with gems, and he is dancing there as a mountain made out of coral. We can imagine the beautiful color of coral in the form of mountain, isn't it? So Lord Shiva is dancing in the form of a coral mountain. That is what verse number 8 is all about. The 9th verse, Chidambaram. The verse goes this way. மாலோடயனும் அமரர் பதியும் வந்து வணங்கி நின்று ஆல கண்டாரனே அருளாய் என்றென்றவரேத்த சேலாடும் வயல் தில்லை மல்கு சிற்றம்பலம் தன்னுள் பாலாடும் முடி சடைகள் தாழ பரமநாடுமே. திருச்சிற்றம்பலம். Today's verse talks about, we have already seen that this particular Padigam follows the same pattern as Kari Pillayar. So 8th verse was given as a Ravana Anugraha Murti. Obviously, so 9th has to be representing Lingodbhava, isn't it? Similar to that, in this also, the 9th verse starts like this. All the Devas, including Brahma, Vishnu, Indran, all of them are coming down to Thillai, as in Chidambaram, and they are praying, singing praises of Lord Shiva. How are they singing? If you want to praise someone, we have to talk about their unique qualities and tell them, isn't it? If we are going to talk about a common property, there is nothing so special about it. So we need to pinpoint on something which is very unique quality that is, that only that person has, and then we will praise them. Similar to that, Lord Shiva has one very unique characteristic where you can't see this for anyone else, which is the throat. The blue colored throat, we call it as Neelakantam. And the Neelakantam means blue throat is because of poison. That's why they call it as Alakantam. Ala means poison. Alakantam, his throat has a poison in it because he swallowed that to safeguard the entire planet, or the entire universe rather. So what happens here is, Lord Shiva is considered to be the head of everyone, because when you talk about a leader, the first quality of a leader is they have to protect their everyone under them, right? So he was able to protect his subjects, and that is why he is considered to be the leader. So all the devas have come down and they are praising Lord Shiva as, O leader, Alakanta, and then they are praising and they are singing all sort of musical notes and all these in praises of Lord Shiva. Here Lord Shiva is performing his cosmic dance. How is he performing? We all know he loves to take bath always, right? So he's an abhishek, he loves abhishekams. When he was going through the abhishekam process of milk, imagine he just woke up and he started dancing. If you can visualize this, that is what this verse is all about. His hair is full of milk and he is dancing with a milky hair, and the place he is performing his cosmic dance is Thillai, and the entire place is so beautiful with lot of fields and paddy fields and all these, and there's a lot of fishes around in the paddy fields itself. Such a beautiful and wealthy place, filled with natural resource, is what Thillai is all about. That is what verse number 9 is all about. The 10th verse. The verse goes this way. Thiruchitrambalam. நெடிய சமணும் மறை சாக்கியரும் நிரம்பா பல்கோடி செடியும் தவத்தோர் அடையா தில்லை சிற்றம்பலம் தன்னுள் அடிகள் அவரை ஆரு நம்பி அவர்கள் இசை பாட கொடியும் விடையும் உடைய கோல குழக நாடுமே. திருச்சிற்றம்பலம். 10th verse. As we said, the entire Padigam follows the pattern of Kari Pillayar, which means 8th verse will be dedicated to Ravana Anugraha Murti, 9th verse will be dedicated to Lingodbhavar, and the 10th verse is usually to negate all the other, as in whatever is non-Saivam, it's to negate those concepts. That's what 10th verse will always be. And in this, he is also, as in the saint is also including one very beautiful stance here to say, Nambi Arurar, who is one of the third saints that we always talk about. Nambi Arurar was the one who sang here his Padigams. Not only that, he is the one even today teaching us how to look at Lord Shiva. When you go to Thillai, and when we look at the cosmic dancer, how should we enjoy? How should we see him? How should we take him within us? That is what verse number 10 is depicting to us. Nambi Arurar, when he went to Thillai, he was just standing in front of Lord Shiva. His ears, his nose, his tongue, his skin, nothing worked. All those sense organs gave the ability to the eyes. So Nambi Arurar was just seeing Lord Shiva. He did not have the four different, ego, intellect, mind, nothing of that sort. Everything pointed back to one, and he was just enjoying Lord Shiva. He did not have the three qualities, which is, we call it as Sattviham, Rajasam and Tamasam, right? He did not have all three, but everything became Sattviham. So he was only looking at Lord Shiva, and in a very, very pointed manner, concentrated manner. This is how we should be looking at Lord Shiva when we go to Thillai. He is the one, as in Nambi Arurar is the one who taught us this as per Periya Purana. Now, in this place, as in, let's look at the verse. Verse number 10 talks about the other, the other concepts, which is non-Saivam. We have to negate it because those are not real, those are not true, and that is not the concept which is there forever, living. It's not living forever. So, those are certain stages. So, once a person achieves that, they have to move on to the next one. So, we have to negate all the other concepts and all these, and we have to pray to Lord Shiva. We have to sing praises of Lord Shiva, who's a cosmic dancer, who's performing his beautiful dance in this particular temple. He has a flag, and at the same time he has a bull as his vehicle. He has a bull. Not only that, he's also having a flag. The flag is a representation of the 5-letter mantra, the syllable, which is Shivaya Nama. That is what verse number 10 is all about. And the 11th verse, the verse goes this way. This is also called as the Falashruti or Thirukadai Kappu. 11th verse goes this way. Thiruchitrambaram. வானோர் பணிய மண்ணோரேத்த மன்னி நடமாடும் தேனார் பொழில் சூழ் தில்லை மல்கு சிற்றம்பலத்தானை தூணான் மறையான் அமுதவாலி சொன்ன தமிழ் மாலை பானேர் பாடல் பத்தும் பாட பாவம் நாசமே. திருச்சிற்றம்பலம். We all know the pattern of Thirukadaikappu. Usually it talks about who has sung this padigam and on whom this padigam was sung upon, and when someone is reading this padigam or singing this padigam, what is the benefit they are going to get. This is the pattern of Thirukadaikappu. And in this particular 11th verse, which is Thirukadaikappu, our author says, he's introducing himself, he says, he's a Brahmin by birth, so he knows all the 4 Vedas, and he says, I have learnt all the Vedas and I know how to recite the Vedas, and I have written Tamil verses. Because we all know, when you want to perform rituals, we go for Vedas, but when you want to show your love, your affection, the inner meaning of Lord Shiva, we need to choose a language which can relate with that, which is Tamil. So he says he has learned all the Vedas, yet he is singing this beautiful Thirupadigam in Tamil, and he is singing on Lord Shiva, who is there in Thillai, and the place Thillai is filled with all the devas who are worshipping him, and even the human beings have come there to worship him. So all the devas are there to submit themselves to Lord Shiva. All the human beings are there to surrender themselves, and they are there to sing the praises of Lord Shiva. Okay, so who has sung this? Thiruvaali Amudhanaar, on whom? Thillai Chitrambalavar. Now we need to know what is the benefit of someone reading this padigam or singing this padigam, and according to this particular verse, the author says, when someone is singing this padigam, all they are going to get is nullified. They are going to be nullified of their karmic deeds. All their karmas, old karmas, are going to be nullified. It's all going to be washed away, erased off, just like that. In a jiffy, it's going to be erased off. This is the benefit of someone reading this padigam. And we all know, when we sing padigams in a very committed manner, in a more, as in when we surrender ourselves completely, and when we start singing Thirupadigams, that is where Lord Shiva is going to be there to guide us in the right path, because he loves Thirupadigam, and we know that. We know that from each and every padigam we are able to relate with that. Whenever we sing Thirupadigams, we will be able to relate with him. He will be just, you can feel that he's just sitting next to us. That is the beauty of Thirupadigams, and that is what is resonated in this Thirukadaikappu also. With this, we are concluding 24 Thirupadigams. I'll come back again with the next padigam very soon. Until then, Sivaya Nama, Thiruchitrambalam.